There's a whole process. You don't just turn this thing on.
It.
What is that? Wow. So was this your first date together?
No,
This is
this is the original Cinnabon where me and Kevin met. That's
Wow,
went back.
that's so romantic. Oh my god. Okay, so Sarah, Molly, and I worked on something called the Basically Guide to Better Baking. It's the feature story in our next issue, and we developed 10 recipes. They go in order of difficulty. So the first recipe are these chocolate buckwheat cookies. Those are the easiest ones. And these cinnamon date sticky buns that I'm going to make today are level 10. We made it so easy for the home. This is not going to be intimidating at all. So I have 3/4 cup of buttermilk here. The buttermilk is going to be the main liquid in the dough, so that's what's going to help make it very tender, very light, and then 6 tablespoons of oil. So I tested this with butter and oil, but the oil gave me like a much lighter, fluffier texture. And something about when you make a dough with oil, it tends to not go stale the next day. So right here, I'm just trying to take the chill off. Warming it up slightly helps it proof a little faster. You want to warm it up just enough so that's like neutral, body temperature. We're going to come back over here. Here I have some dark brown sugar. I just like dark because it's more flavorful. You get more molassesy bang. And I'm going to whisk this up. Okay. So we're going to add 1 packet of active dry yeast. And you know how some people mix the yeast with some milk and like let it hang out until it gets foamy? You can do that if you're worried that your yeast is old, but if you know your yeast is fresh, just proceed. So, just mixing this up, and now I'm going to whisk in my buttermilk and oil mixture. And this is going to be my wet ingredients for the dough. Okay, so I'm just pouring it into a measuring cup so it's a little easier to handle. So this dough is very, very wet. It has a really high hydration, and because of that, it doesn't fully knead in the food processor. So we're gonna just use the food processor to get it going, but we still have to knead it a little bit. But it's better than having to go at it alone the whole time. AP flour, kosher salt, and then a 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda. So the baking soda isn't actually here for leavening. Because we have buttermilk in the dough, that makes the whole batter like more acidic and less prone to browning. So we want a nice brown bun, so the baking soda just makes it a little more alkaline so it browns up better. I'm just going to pulse the dry ingredients to combine. And then I'm going to stream all the wet into the dry while the machine is running. And we're going to let it process for a few minutes until it mostly comes together into a ball. Okay, so you can see it's like super wet. So it doesn't want to ball up right away, but just like give it a minute. Okay, so this is like mostly coming to a ball, and you're gonna see the dough is actually pretty wet, but that's exactly what we want. A wet dough is gonna make sure we're gonna have a nice fluffy light bun. So don't add any flour to the table. I know you're gonna want to, just you have to trust me. We are going to knead it briefly. The dough is pretty nice right now, but you can see it's a bit sticky. As we knead it, it's going to get less sticky. This dough has a lot of fat and sugar. The gluten's not going to develop for us right here, right now. Instead, what's going to happen is we're going to roll this and fold it and let it hang out overnight. And then as the dough just chills, it's going to develop gluten and you're going to get like that nice chewy quality. So you want to roll this out roughly to like an 8 by 8 inch square. So you don't have to be really precise here. We're just rolling it out so we can fold it back up. So I'm folding it over itself twice. And now we have a little like 4 by 4 inch square. And I'm going to roll out again and do it again. And now I have this like little bundle. And you can roll it and make it pretty, but it really doesn't matter. This is going to proof overnight. And then tomorrow, the dough is going to look fabulous. Just hanging out on its own. It'll do some stuff.
You need a place to put this.
Yeah. So I'm just going to oil up my dough. So it's important to coat the dough in fat just so you make sure you don't get a skin. This is going to proof overnight in the fridge, so that cold air can really damage your dough and like prevent it from fully rising. So we're going to make sure it's nicely coated, and then this has to be covered like airtight, so plastic wrap, or we really like these. Oh God, it's stuck.
It's so good.
This silicone lid is good at keeping the air out. Look at that. Yeah, but a wet towel won't work here. So, okay, so I made one last night, and this is what it looks like. You can see it's doubled in size. Ready to roll? So I'm going to start by soaking some dates. This is going to be for my filling. I have some hot water. So these are pitted medjool dates. Medjool's the best for this because they're like really sticky and sweet. We're going to work on the date filling. Base of the date filling is a date puree that we're going to season up with some cinnamon, salt, and oil. These are my soaked dates. These were originally going to be baklava buns, so I tried it with like a honey caramel and a bunch of chopped nuts and all this stuff, but it was just so many ingredients. That's kind of the challenge with the Basically recipes. You have to try and make your vision happen with 10 ingredients. I always go way too far when recipe developing, and then I get reeled in. It's never something that's my choice. But I think it's better to go that way than have to like zhuzh things up. So here we got some salt. So this, you might need to add a tablespoon or so of water to get the puree really smooth, but try to avoid it. You just want to like keep scraping, processing, scraping, and you'll get there. Okay, I got my tiny spatula. I never leave home without it. This is my personal spatula, and I've had it in every restaurant I've worked at for like the last 10 years. Literally in my back pocket. This is nice and smooth. I didn't need to add any water, but if you do, just go a tablespoon at a time so you don't overdo it. This, along with some brown sugar, is going to be our filling. So we've got our dough, we've got our filling, and now is the fun part where we get to roll it out. So I like to use no flour. You noticed I used no flour when I was kneading it, and I'm going to use no flour again now because we want to make sure this dough stays super light and fluffy, and we don't want to add any flour to it to dry it out. So we're going to do another folding situation, just like we did earlier. You're going to roll it out to a square, and we're going to fold it over in half and in half again. And that is going to just make sure, as this dough goes through its second rise, we're going to get just a nice flaky, light texture. Now we got this tight little square. Now we're going to take our time and roll it out nicely. We want to ultimately have a 12 by 12 inch square. You got to take your time with this. And you can't let the dough like boss you around, you know? Don't be afraid to pull at it and tug it. We want to get a really nice square at this point, and that's how you know you're going to get a nice swirl. Okay, so you see I'm like pulling, stretching. Do whatever you got to do to make it a nice even square. Dough doesn't want to be a square, so you have to tell it what to do. Okay, so if you don't get a perfect 12 by 12 inch square, it won't ruin your buns. But it is key to getting the really nice swirl. You know, I feel like this is level 10. You want something impressive, you know? You want to show off all of your awesome new baking skills, so take your time and like get that square. So this is the date paste I just made, blended up soaked medjool dates, and I just dolloped it on all over, and now I'm going to spread it evenly. So I'm leaving about like a 1/4 inch at the top. That's going to help the buns not unravel once it's sliced. All right. So now I'm going to sprinkle some brown sugar. There's a lot of sweetness from the dates, but it still is really helpful to have just like actual sugar in there. It gets really gooey, ooey, because it's a sticky bun. Okay, so roll it up. I like to use this guy to help me get it started. And then try and keep it a little tight. And there we go. And now we're going to slice this up. So you want to do long strokes because you don't want to like compress that nice spiral you just made. And I'm going to start by trimming off the ends. So long strokes, nice sharp knife. Yeah, just like that. I'm going to cut this into 9 pieces, so it helps me to just kind of mark it off to start. So once again, like nice long strokes. Wipe between. Okay, now this is my preferred way to cut the buns, but you do need a good serrated knife to do it. And if you don't have a serrated knife, you can still make buns. You just need dental floss.
So, what are you doing? I had 2 o'clock ball time. I'm here.
Oh, we're making Sohla.
We're making cinnamon date sticky buns.
Ooh, I like the date move.
Yeah,
There. I'm gonna
yeah.
put this stuff down. That's
Yeah.
exciting.
I was just gonna show everyone how to cut it with dental floss. Have you done this before?
Oh, like the priest killer. The stracciatelli or
Yeah,
whatever
well,
it's called.
if you don't have a good serrated knife, you don't want to use a kitchen knife and like
Did you get those crimps?
because you get the crimps. Yeah, so like you
Look at you, man. You know what? Real professional soul. I'll tell you what.
yeah.
Pulling
Thanks,
up,
Dad.
nice.
Uh huh.
All right, and then what? You kind
And then
of.
you just.
You've done this before? Oh,
I have done it before. Huh?
Whoa!
Oh, look at that swirl.
Yeah. Good job, Sola. Right in the cast iron, huh?
Yeah. Oh, I forgot. You gotta oil the cast iron.
It's my fault.
Oil your cast iron. No.
You know, I got mixed feelings on cinnamon buns. I know they're delicious, but I only just want like 2 bites, you know? All right, thanks, Brad.
Oh.
I'll see you guys later.
All right. Okay, so this is gonna proof now for about an hour. It could take up to 2 hours depending on how warm or cold your kitchen is. Okay, let me show them to you real quick. So these have been proofing for about an hour, and you can tell they've really like filled out the pan. You want to poke your bun, and then the indent will just like slowly come back like a nice foam mattress. These are going to bake at 350 degrees for 20 minutes covered. We're going to start them covered so they kind of steam and get real fluffy and puff up and get very light. And then we're going to remove the cover and continue baking for another 15 until it gets nice and brown on top. The buns have had their first round of baking. Oh, look at that. Okay, so it looks really pale and sad, but it's nicely puffed. You can tell those are going to be very light and fluffy. Now they just have to get brown. Okay. Now I'm going to make the glaze. The glaze is inspired by the great buns of Cinnabon. So we're using a little buttermilk here for that similar tang. And I'm going to use vanilla paste. I mostly use vanilla paste because I like the speckles on the bun. So use whatever you have. If you only have vanilla extract, that's good too. But yeah, I like the little speckles from the paste. It just looks fancy. Wow. And you know what? I think the buns are ready, aren't they? Let's get those buns out of the oven. Here we go. I like them just like lightly golden brown, but you can take it as far or as light as you'd like. And I like to glaze them while they're hot. This way the glaze kind of just melts into all those little swirly bits and everything gets nice and sticky. These are best eaten immediately. You want them to be hot. You're gonna think this is too much glaze, but it needs it. You want this. Keep going. I'm gonna be a monster and just like, I'm gonna get the center one. Right? I earned it. You know, I made these buns with my bare hands. I'm gonna have this center cut fillet. I get so mad when people do this, when they just take food from the middle. Matt,
Yes?
do you like this center or the edge?
I'll do an edge because it's easier to eat.
Edge? Okay.
I'm very excited.
You're my special guest.
Okay, are you happy with it?
Yeah, I'm happy with it.
That wasn't convincing.
They came out really nice and fluffy. The swirl is like beautiful.
It's gorgeous.
And like when you unravel it, there's a nice distribution of goop. I think that's vital to a sticky bun.
Yes.
Like distribution of goop.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean it's
All right,
good.
I'm going in.
Ah.
Yeah, you nailed it. Perfect consistency. It's not like overly gooey, like it's not a mess to eat, but it's not like too dry or anything like that. You nailed it.
It's fine. Yeah, it's good.
Every time she says it's fine, I know it's incredible, because if it's like,
I'm going in for more glaze.
you won't even let me eat it if you think it's like even mediocre.
No, it's good. It's good. It's a good bun. It's a good level 10 bun, right?
What?
It's part of the Basically Baking package.
Oh, right.
This is level 10.
I don't know what video I'm in.
This is level 10 of the Basically Baking package, but there's plenty of other recipes. There's easier ones, there are harder ones, so don't be intimidated, and if you are confused at all, just hit rewind. Just keep watching me. We're going to get through it together. We're going to have some buns in your oven. I don't know.
That's a cut.
Sarah saw every version of these. They were really bad in the beginning. So bad that they almost got cut immediately. And now they're the cover.
Now they're the cover.
So you just have to keep like pushing.
Story of
Keep going.
perseverance.
0 to hero, yeah.
0 to level 10.
So good.
I so believe that. No, that's great.